Good morning. Welcome to another episode of Papa's Workshops. These are for Adam, Brady, Luke, and Brenna. But before we get started, we got to check in with my assistant. There she is. You sound asleep, old girl? Yeah, there's a little treat. She's getting up there in years, like all of us. Okay. This is going to be a little different. I'm in between projects, and we've got some home improvement things, some pretty big things going on inside and out. So probably not going to start on a new 18th century project until probably June. So I thought I might do some short ones on just some of the tools I have in the shop and what works for me and what maybe doesn't work for me. But today's episode is a little special as I just trip and I got 5 new wooden planes to show, and I'm going to rehab those and make them usable. And one of them turned out to be a little special. All right, so here are the 5 planes we got. They may all look like molding planes, but they're technically not. These are joinery planes. These 2 are dado planes. A dado being a slot across the grain as opposed to a groove going with the grain. That's the technical, even though those terms are used interchangeably. And then you could make a groove or with the grain with this, but it has, both of these have the spurs that slice across the grain the same width as the blade. This one's got an adjustable depth stop, but it is frozen, so I have to get that loose. This one also has an adjustable, but that looks like that should come out. But this one's, I didn't notice it till I got it home, but the wedge on this one, somebody cut it off down at the bottom. So we'll have to make a new wedge for that one. And actually, I may already have a dado plane that's this wide, which then I just may put this on the shelf. I've got a shelf upstairs that my plane wall. I'll have to take a picture of the plane wall. Here is my plane wall, or one of them. There's the other one, and of course that's Alf. Alf was sort of year-round elf on the shelf at our house for a while, so he's found his way there. Anyway, those are my plane walls. And then I got these 2, and then you can see this one's got the blade on the wrong side. That could have happened, people handling it before he bought it, and this one's got the wedge in the wrong way. And I'm not really sure. I guess you would call these molding planes because that's the profile. It's not a joinery plane. It's not. I don't really know that you'd call that a beading plane. I've never had ones with 2 separate blades like that each side. So getting those matched is going to be a challenge. Even when you're using the plane, getting them set to the same height and all that is going to be a challenge. Otherwise, they look in pretty good shape. These are both Ohio Tool Company. This is the oddball. And I say oddball because see, it is longer. This is a 10-inch. These are 9.5, and it was, I think, in the early 1800s. It was standardized that all these planes were 9.5. See, they all match up, and all the ones that are behind me, they're all, even though these are sticking out, these are all the same 9.5. This one is 10. So that was the first flag that I saw. The other thing is the way these edges are done. They're just a straight chamfer. And you can see on these planes, it's more rounded. It's the same idea, but it's just more rounded. On all of them, it's that way. See, it's just more rounded and subtle. And the wedge is a little different. Typically, old ones, it's more circular, and this one's still sort of an oval, but it is kind of oval in a different way. These are kind of pointed down. This is pointed up. So I got it home. I looked up the maker. It's got a maker's mark. Oh, the other thing it doesn't have the spring lines that show the angle that you're supposed to use this at. I don't know how well the profile shows up there, but this should be this little groove there. That's where the horizontal piece of the board would be, and this piece down here would be the vertical. And normally these planes would have a line scribed in them to be the scribe line. That's the angle you would hold this at to get it right. So anyway, I looked up the makers. It's iSleeper, and I checked online. I found a website, Time Tested Tools, and sure enough, it was there, iSleeper, and it was a frequently found mark, so he must have been a prolific plane maker. He had a brother, Moses, and so there's planes marked M Sleeper as well. But John Sleeper, and I don't know why it's marked iSleeper when his name was John. Maybe his middle name was I something. But he lived from 1754 to 1834 in Newburyport, Massachusetts, I think that is. So we could probably say this is somewhere around 1790 to 1800, maybe 1810, I don't know. But it's definitely an old sucker. The fact that it's found frequently probably means it's not particularly valuable as a collector plane, but I just feel like something that's that old, I probably shouldn't mess with it. I mean, it looks like it's in fairly good shape and wouldn't take much to get it there, but I think I'm better off to put this up on my plane wall and leave it as is. So we're going to set that one aside, and we'll start on let's start on this guy with this thing here. We got to take that all apart. All right, the first thing we got to do is get this thing apart. See if we can get those wedges out. Well, that looks pretty good. Somebody's been using this not that long ago. I mean, there is no pitting or anything. That won't take much to get that going. Now, the way these work, the screw that's locked to this plate, you know, and then the screw goes into a block down here that drives this, but it's all jammed up. And I don't want to force it while it's in there. See if we can't get these screws out. These screws tend to have a very, very narrow slot. I took a screwdriver and ground it to a finer point. You don't want to screw up the screws. Not sure I can hit that down. go. At least that's turning. So now we can get that out of the block. It's probably just gummed up. Pretty rusted. Oh, yeah. Just using a punch here to it's just frozen up. That's a brass block. I think we need a stick and a bigger hammer. All right, so I got a stick, got it up on some blocks. If you turn that, you can see it. Come out of there. That thing is really stuck. I guess it's just gotten wet, I guess. Maybe somebody cleaning it and they got the stuff in there. So we'll take a file and just kind of clean that inside and out. And some brass cleaner. So it's brass. This is brass here, it looks like, and then this is steel, so we need to clean that up. And of course this is all brass except for the screw, but see it. So take a wire brush to that rusty part, some brass cleaner to that, and normally I would take some mineral spirits and wipe it down. It doesn't look too bad. Not a whole lot of, but there is some grease on the ends. So let me wipe this down with some mineral spirits and see where we're at. All right. Seeing there's not a whole lot of difference. The ends got cleaned up better. Mineral spirits didn't touch it at all, really. Somebody else has already cleaned that. This is why this is so blonde. And I used a little bit of alcohol trying to get the rest of it. But these stains, another way you could get that out is to scrape it. Oh, not something there. And I'm not after making it look brand new. I don't think that's really what you should be doing with any of these. I just wanted to get all the dirt off of it, and then I'll put just a coat of boiled linseed oil on it, just to protect the wood a little bit. I did check, and it is nice and flat this way, and this way, and this way, and I assume this is too. Yes, so it's in really good shape. We don't have to do anything there. And I took a small file and tried to clean all the corrosion out of that slot for this foot. I did use the Brasso and brass cleaner, cleaned up the brass. I don't know how well you can see it, but right there, it had been hit with a metal hammer. My brass hammer would not have damaged that. And it was kind of bent over, so I had to file, you probably can't see that, but I had to file that flat because it was rounded over. So I got that all cleaned up and then put a little bit of wax on there. And now it seems to go down in the hole pretty well. It slides in on its own weight. It's just that last little bit that it sticks. But I think I'm okay. So we'll See how it is when we put this all back together. I put a lubricant on that screw. You see that spins nice. Still a little stiff. What it could be, this needs to be around the other way. Oh yeah, that's better. Much better. I think we're good. So I need to make a mark where that's going to be. So I think I'll put some boiled linseed oil on this and then work on the blades. Go from there. All right, I got it all assembled. I got the blades sharpened. I put a coat of paste wax on the bottom so it slides easier. So I got a scrap piece of pine here to test this with. I should put that on the other side. So I made sure when you're setting these up that the nicker lines up with the edge of the blade on, you know, that you don't have one over to the other side. So we'll see where we are here. So first thing is you go backwards. This board is warped a little bit, so it's a little hollow in the middle. So do that again. And then we'll take a pass here. The blade set a little too deep. There we go. When it stops cutting, it's there. Not too bad. This is a 13/16. I don't know if you can see that. I thought it said 15, but it didn't look that wide. And this is a British plane. What is that? Gary Oldham Street, Manchester. And that's the owner's mark there, R. Walker. So not too bad. Definitely a user. I thought it was a 3/4, but it's a 13/16, which I used that a lot, that thickness on boards, rather than the 3/4 that we use on modern furniture. So this will be a definite user. So now I move on to one of the next ones. All right, we got this one cleaned up. I just did with the mineral spirits and alcohol like I did before. And you can see this is the mate. It cleaned up quite a bit. And then I just put paste wax on it since it already was dark. We didn't make it darker with the boiled linseed oil. So I've got to see how this works. I've got both blades to the point that, let me get this a little closer here. both blades are not sticking out. See, there we are. So I'm going to do is just kind of ease this up. There's nothing cuts right now. Just going to tap these in a little bit at a time till it looks like they're showing. There. Yes, all right, they're both cutting now. The question is, are they cutting even? So I got this piece in here. It's a 7/8 wide opening, and this is 7/8 wide board. So we'll see what we get here. Not much. Don't think it's cutting anything. One. Cutting on that side. Oh, I can see that iron has got to go. There we got some shavings. Probably a thing to do is to take a flat plane and chamfer an edge. Probably the thing to do. Digging in on that edge. All right, I've futzed with that for a while. That is just pretty tedious. Obviously, I don't know what I'm doing. And you get, if you can see it, right there, there is a lip. Well, I guess it's this way. Right there. There's a little thing where the two blades were not in the same plane. It just a little bit at this end. And so that's the profile. That's all right, but I think I could have done it easier with a round plane. So I think these two may end up on my plane wall, because I don't think that's a very useful tool for me. Like I said, I can use one of the other rounds and get it. Or actually, even with the block plane, you'd probably get it pretty close. So that's a lot more work than it's worth. So, one more plane go.